What up? This is DC Channel Fishing coming back with you another video, people. I appreciate you for tuning in. If you don't mind, please hit that subscribe button, share the video, and hit that bell for notification and everything. So we're gonna talk about some fishing and stuff like that. So what I've been doing is trying to find some good bait and stuff to catch fish. And so, lately it's hit or miss. I'm talking about, fishing in freshwater it's not easy. I'm talking about, you got to have the right bait for the particular fish and stuff that you're trying to get and stuff like that. And, I've been fishing for a long time and stuff, but, we go to the salt water. It's not as hard. It's not as hard to catch fish in salt water, but in freshwater it's a little difficult. You got your catfish and brim and all that kind of stuff, or whatever the case may be. So, um, I went, out to one of the local stores, fishing stores and stuff, and went down the aisle and just looking at different baits and stuff like that. So let's go check that out right now. So here we go. I'm in Dunham's. Now I'm in the fishing section, and it's so much, different types of fishing bait, different companies like the Berkeley's and stuff. It's just so many companies out there. The prices not dirt cheap, especially for the barbers and stuff like that and everything. I had bought an expensive barber and got hung and lost it. So I'm talking about, you got to be very careful with some of these barbers. They're not cheap and stuff start to add up real quick. So, just kind of looking around and see, what type of bait that I want to try to find, to catch, particular fish that I'm looking for to catch and everything. So, just browsing. I'm talking about you can see the prices, people. And there was a lot of good, bait, artificial bait, stuff like that that was in there. A lot of this is good for a lot of saltwater fishing and stuff like that and everything. So, I'm just trying to, see what I want and just try to pick. And, I could be on this aisle for days looking. And so I did some research. I had to do a little research and stuff of what I want. So, we just browsing all types of different types of lures and stuff on this aisle. And like I said, it's a lot of companies. I'm talking about, you have Strike King, stuff like that. You know, you got Storm. I'm talking about there's so many names out there that I see from different places I go to and stuff. But you got to kind of narrow it down what you want. You got to have your particular, what are you trying to fish at? What are you trying to catch? That's pretty much what it boils down to. So just kind of glancing at a lot of stuff, looking at different little things and stuff, different rigs and everything. So just kind of browsing and when you're looking at a lot of bait, people, and I watch a lot of videos and stuff like that, and you see a lot of these guys testing out bait and stuff like that. I have used frog the ultimate and can't is not even nowhere near successful with some of what these guys are. I don't know how long it take them to whatever they got to find to get this bait to work and everything. I had used that magic bait. That didn't work as much as I would think it was and stuff like that for catfish and stuff like that. So, but right now I had narrowed down. I got a lot of the ponds that we're in now has a lot of crappie and stuff like that. Crappies, brims, and catfish and stuff like that. So, I kind of made my mind up. We're gonna, I want to try to catch some of these crappies because we was at a pond the other day and a guy came out there. I don't even think he was out there 15 minutes. He started catching crappies, and he told me his setup and everything that he had and stuff like that. So I got a couple little pointers and stuff from him and everything. And like I said, he said it wasn't easy either. It's gonna you got to require a little work, a little skill and patience and stuff. And he was surprised that he caught. And I didn't know they had crappie. I've been fishing in this pond for a minute, getting catfish and stuff, but I didn't know they had crappies as big as the ones that he had. So let me show you, what I pretty much came down and, to pretty much go. So I was over here. I ended up going to the kind of the crappy section a little bit. We down in the bass section and stuff. So just trying to find some of these little crappy baits and stuff out and everything. So I'm just kind of going through trying to make my decision what I want and everything. So, but I had used a lot of these other ones, Powerball, Power Bait, them guppies and stuff like that. So starting to see, some of this crappy bait and everything. So I was just kind of looking around. And, like I said, the price vary depends on whatever the company is that you're looking at. So you got to kind of, know what price range that you want to be in and stuff. And I got a lot of them. So narrowing it down on this owl. So kind of just looking at, some of these artificial bait and stuff like that. And they got some, I'm looking at this spider. They got this spider up here, stuff that, that probably work, and stuff. So I kind of narrowed it down and, I found, what I really want to get to. And I end up narrowing it down to pretty much the crappy bait and stuff. So end up running to some of this crappy bait, stuff like that. And, and I'm gonna show you, the end of the video we're gonna review. So right here, and now one that stood out and that I've been seeing is like the Garland, um, what they call it, the Bobby Garland crappy baits. So looked at the video, all types of bait, people. I'm talking about all kinds of stuff that you can look to find bait and stuff like that. So we're gonna narrow it down to the particular what we're trying to do. Now there's a pond that I'm gonna go to that got crappie and stuff in it or whatever the case may be. So I did my research, looked at some stuff and everything. So with my research, people, I end up picking this right here. Now this is the Bobby Garland crappie bait. Now that's the little fish lures and stuff right here. That the research and stuff I looked at. So this right here is like the original baby shad and stuff like that. Spec is 2 inches length, solid body, lively, straight tail. Recommend jig head from 1 to 24 ounce up to 3 to 316 ounce. So it's what basically is the baby shad live minnow, and it's more like a silver type color and stuff like that. Let me pretty much open it and show you. It's more like a silver like type color, whatever. They got all different types of shad color and stuff like that. And so I was looking at some videos, and it seemed like this right here was biting pretty good when it comes to the crappie and stuff like that. So I figured, we'll go with that and everything. So let you see, this is what it is right here. Now the price can vary depending on what stores you got it. I think I ended up getting this for like $3, and you get 18. You get 18 of these original baby shads in it. Now, when it came to me picking my jig head, now I ended up looking for these, found these right here. These the Eagle Claws dart head jigs. Now this is 1 in 32 ounce. I didn't want it too big, too bulky looking. I wanted to keep it kind of, on the light side, but there was one that was real big. So I got these little silver ones to kind of blend in with the jig, and it's pretty much what I'm working with right now. Let me see, can I open this up to show you something? So I don't know if the camera can do some justice to it, but so I kind of got these right here. They're real small. Now it seems to me that it's not, I didn't want it too big and too bulky and stuff. So once I probably put it in, just show you a demonstration of this. How I probably wanted it, to seat. I might probably want to go a little bit deeper in there to sit. So it's gonna pretty be much like this, and pretty much I can hide that hook a little bit, and just using this weight, and just toss it in, and kind of catch some. See, can we catch some crappies and stuff? And the pond we're gonna go to has some big crappies and stuff in it, and everything. But it's getting to the point now. Whatever particular fish you're looking for, you got to kind of narrow it down to find the bait that's gonna work and stuff. So just an experiment and everything. I will be doing a video on that coming up, whatever, trying to see what we can get going when it comes to catching fish and stuff like that. So I will be doing a lot of videos like this, going through some of my experiments and stuff. This is probably something different for a lot of people, but this is just me. So I want to go through this thing because there's a lot of people who's probably like me. You don't catch fish all the time. I see videos people just catching fish, but in certain areas, certain fish is hard to catch, and it's gonna take a lot of patience and stuff. So I'm gonna be doing videos, a lot of videos like that. If you like that, people hit that subscribe button and everything. I'm gonna be bringing it to you and everything. So with that said, this is DC Channel Fishing, and I catch you on the next one.